Hi guys, I just thought I'd give you a quick update video on the mt4 that I haven't used for quite a long time because I crashed it, basically bent the chassis, not a massive amount, I suppose about kind of 5 mil at the back or something like that, just literally at the back, this back section here, so you can't really see it, but it just bent probably from this point backwards. There was a bit of a bend started to happen. It wasn't really a big deal. I did run it a couple of times with the chassis bent, but it did, I think, lead to other problems. I managed to snap a shock cap on one side of a fairly kind of, not a massive impact really, but I think it was several impacts led up to it breaking or snapping off. The mt4 has been a lot of fun using it. It's a really great, if you like jumping and with RC cars, but if you like jumping and sort of bashing as they call it, it's a really great RC in my opinion. But anyway, I've done a review video on it and yeah, I said enough about it then. But basically just to give an update on what I've done, I've looked around for a while for a better chassis. I didn't really want to just put the same stock chassis back on there, just because I suppose it's going to bend again in time. Although I've been using it for a year and I've been, you know, messing about with it, and it's taken a year for it to slowly bend, obviously, or maybe some big impacts to bend it. But I looked around. There is another chassis available. I think it's BCE. I think online. I'm not sure where it's produced. Maybe I got the impression it might be Thailand or somewhere like that. So I'm not sure. But I think it's about $100 US dollars possibly, plus delivery. But in the meantime, in waiting for that to kind of get decided on whether that was available, on whether that would be an upgrade, I just thought I'll buy a stock chassis, another stock chassis, and I was going to try it and double them up. So put the standard chassis back, and then put another chassis over it. And at the same time, I thought I'd double up the shock towers as well, front and back, and just see if it helps durability. The shock towers do bend a bit, especially at the ears, or you know, where the shocks mount, just here. So I thought I'd give that a try. Again, mine, I haven't really bent them much, to be honest. I've crashed it a lot, and but I've got a lot of videos on the mt4 and you can see a lot of crashing going on. And to be honest, it survived most of it with no trouble at all. I just thought I'd do an overview video to show you what I've done, or where I needed longer bolts and things like that. At the same time, I also, instead of getting a shock cap, I decided to just get some shocks, because a shock cap was, you know, I don't know, £10 plus delivery or whatever. But I went on Asia Tees to get the shock towers, and then I noticed they did shocks at the same length and similar basic specs, as far as I could tell, for the Kyosho Inferno MP9. So I thought I'd go for them. They're aluminium, they're threaded, which is quite nice. So I thought, why not? I'll go for those. Similar, you know, they were at £5 more or something. So I went for them. They fit fine. The spring rate or the general feel of them is okay. I mean, they're kind of springy possibly. I don't know if the oil's a bit too thin or the spring's a bit too hard. I've got too stiff I mean. I've got the adjusters all the way backed off, so there's no preload. You could have tons of preload on it. So I'm not sure how good they are, to be honest, but I'll give them a go. Why not? They seem a bit bouncy, but we'll see. So basically, to start with, the main chassis plate, or the bottom chassis, I hammered the old chassis back straight, which took me about 2 minutes with a hammer over a bit of wood. It was quite easy. And that's gone on second, so the brand new chassis is underneath this. There's one screw just behind this plastic cover here, which is really short. So that was put on first before the second chassis was put on. All the other screws basically went through both chassis, so it's been a bit risky, I guess. I mean, you're talking, well, it's 3mm, isn't it? The chassis is 3mm, now it's 6mm, so 3mm less thread has gone into the bulkheads, the motor mount, the screws here, holding on the steering assembly at the front, the bumper, the hinge pin holders, front and back. So it is 3mm less, but I use thread lock where you'd normally use it. The other screws, I mean, they all held pretty well. I did notice that you could, now it's all together, you could drill through the chassis around here, just in front of the plastic tub and just behind the plastic tub in the back. And you could, if you drilled through both, you could put a nut and bolt on there and bolt them together. But I'm thinking that's not necessary. I was just going to go with it and see what happens. Yeah, I needed longer screws, from what I remember, 35mm screws to go to mount the shocks, the front shocks. I believe there are 16mm screws to mount the body posts, as they're now going through the 2 towers instead of 1. The front bumper's held on with a 35mm screw that goes right through the front and through both towers. The shock tower mountings to the bulkhead ears, I believe they're 20mm screws, so there's 4 of those, 4 at the front, 4 at the back. No, there's 6 at the back, sorry. I had to mess about a bit with this body, the rear body post mount and the wheelie bar assembly, because just here where it goes through the towers and then bolts down, there was a bit too much plastic on there to now reach across both towers, so I had to trim that a little bit. And again, that's got longer screws, 20mm screws from what I remember, in the back. So there's a few longer screws here, but I mean it was literally, I don't know, £5 or something like that. They should be pretty strong, where you've got your mounting through both eyes at the top. You're also mounted right through with the body posts, so that whole area really it's got 3 screws in it on each side. Then you've got your 2 coming through the ears there. You've got your bumper mount as well, going straight through. You got the 2 bolts at the bottom, and you've also got the bolts going through the wheeler bar, and then there's one just underneath as well. So again, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mounting points on either side. I'll be doing some running with this. At the moment, the electronics from this are in the LST2, I'm getting a, again this is irrelevant really, but I'm getting to the MT4, but I'm getting a Leopard 4092, so a 92mm motor to go, I think it's 1480 kV to go in the LST, so I'm going to take the ripper back out of the LST and put it back in the MT4. I'm hoping to get them both running at the same time. I'll probably use the 120 amp ESC in here from the Emax with 4S ripper, and go for the Leopard big motor on 6S with 150 amp Ace RC ESC from this. So we'll have this on 6S, this on 4S, just to get a little kind of comparison of speed. Obviously they're totally different setups, so it's not really like for like. HPI Savage 4S, MT4 4S, blah blah blah, you know, it's not that like for like comparison, I suppose, even though, is that a like for like comparison? Probably not. But either way, hopefully get them both running. They're kind of a similar size. I don't know if it's possible to see that. The wheelbase is like, well, the same, near enough, I suppose. The width of them, well, it's very similar, isn't it?